This is The Issue, and I am the Ghetto Man. This is the final video in our Red Pill series on the Bill of Rights, 10th Amendment, which reads as follows. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. 10th Amendment, United States Constitution. The 10th Amendment is another very powerful amendment indeed. Don't go away. We'll be right back. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. 10th Amendment, U.S. Constitution. At first blush, one would think that the 10th Amendment is just a repeat of the 9th Amendment. So what's the difference? The 9th Amendment is about rights, inalienable rights, where the 10th Amendment is about power. There is a difference. The 10th Amendment addresses the limitation of powers granted to the federal government. It prohibits the federal government from usurping power not delegated to it by the U.S. Constitution. In order to understand the workings of the 10th Amendment, we must first understand how the flow of constitutional power works in our republic. Where does state and federal power come from anyway? Now, as we have learned in this series of videos, we the people have all the rights, both inalienable and civil. We the people hold all the cards. We are at the top of the food chain. We are the boss. We are the sovereign. All political power flows through we the people to the states, then to the federal government, not the other way around. The states and the federal government have no rights at all. Why? Because the states and the federal government are the creations of we the people. We created government. We are the government's God. Government was created to serve us, not the other way around. States' powers are limited by state constitution. States cannot create their own power. A state can only possess the power that we the people have delegated to them through a state constitution. In other words, the state exists for one reason, to serve we the people, not the other way around. Now the states, through the people in turn, delegate a limited amount of power to the federal government through the U.S. Constitution. The federal government only possesses the power that we the people, through the states, have given it. No more. The federal government exists for one reason, and that is to serve the states and we the people, not the other way around. The federal government is at the bottom of the food chain. Its powers are limited to the terms and conditions of the U.S. Constitution. In other words, the only power that the federal government has is the power that the U.S. Constitution has specifically granted, authorized, and or delegated to it. Anything beyond that is off limits, period. All powers not delegated to the federal government by the states are reserved to the states and to the people of those states, and all power not delegated to the states by we the people are retained by we the people. You see, if push comes to shove, we the people can withdraw all of the delegated power given to the states and the federal government. See the Second Amendment on how that works. George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, John Adams, Federalists, all believed that the Constitution didn't give the federal government the power to do anything that was not specifically designated in it. They believed that a Bill of Rights wasn't necessary. They believed that if only certain rights were listed for protection from government, it would imply that all other rights that were not listed were open to government interpretation and corruption. Now, on the other hand, Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry, and George Mason, anti-federalists, all felt that unless certain rights were listed in a Bill of Rights, the government could and would easily claim those rights and abuse the people. In 1931, the United States Supreme Court ruled that, quote, the 10th Amendment was intended to confirm the understanding of the people at the time the Constitution was adopted, that powers not granted to the United States were reserved to the states or to the people. It added nothing to the instrument as originally ratified. United States versus Sprague, 282 U.S. 716. The 10th Amendment did not add anything to the U.S. Constitution. It just confirmed and clarified that which was already there, that the U.S. Constitution, as originally ratified, already prohibited the federal government from any powers not specifically delegated to it. The intent of our nation's founding fathers is perfectly clear on this fact. If the U.S. Constitution did not specifically delegate a power to the federal government, then the federal government did not have that power. End of story. All that the 10th Amendment did is clarify and confirm this fact. And this stands true for the entire Bill of Rights as well. Our nation's founding fathers deeply distrusted government power. It was their goal to establish a limited government that was bound by law, bound by a constitution. They didn't want a federal government that had the power that the British had imposed on the colonies. Quote, the two enemies of the people are criminals and government. So let us tie the second down with the chains of the Constitution so the second will not become the legalized version of the first, unquote. Some say that Thomas Jefferson said this, but the truth is that no one really knows who said it. But regardless of who said it, it still stands true to the intent of our nation's founding fathers on this subject. The 10th Amendment decentralizes government. It ensures that all government power remains in the hands of the people, where it can be jealously guarded from those who would attempt to take it from us, keeping public servants more accountable to the people that they serve. All federal power comes directly from we the people through the states. We the people created the states through which the U.S. Constitution was created. The U.S. Constitution is a contract made between we the people and the states. That contract created the federal government. The federal government is bound by that contract and must operate within the terms and conditions specified in it. When the federal government fails to honor the terms and conditions of the contract, we the people have the power and the duty to enforce that contract, and violently if necessary. It is our right and our duty to strip the federal government of all power not authorized to it by the U.S. Constitution. That, my friends, is the whole purpose of the Bill of Rights. Quote, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. Now, we the people already have the foundation necessary to secure our life, liberty, and property. It's called the U.S. Constitution, and is still the supreme law of the land as I speak. But the U.S. Constitution is only valid if we the people enforce it. All the tools that are necessary to turn our nation around can be found in the U.S. Constitution today, specifically in the Bill of Rights. Enforcing the 10th Amendment is a necessary step towards ensuring that the United States remains a free and prosperous republic. I am the Ghetto Man. Thank you for watching. If you're politically correct, then you're legally wrong. And if you're not part of the solution, then you are the problem. Please subscribe to my BitChute channel, and please share.